Trump will finally meet with Putin on Friday in dramatic showdown at the G20 where there's no set agenda and Russia's election meddling may not even come up. President Donald Trump will have his most high-profile meeting with a foreign leader yet on Friday as he sits down with Russia's Vladimir Putin. Trump will speak with his foreign counterpart, a former KGB spy, in Hamburg, Germany, after a morning of meetings at the G20. The bombastic American president, who is prone to talk about whatever irks him at the moment, has no agenda for the face-to-face chat, U.S. officials have said. They would not commit last week to a discussion on election meddling during the palasside that evolved into a full-fledged meeting between Trump and Putin. Trump has a tendency to make demands on negotiating partners that they have already said they cannot or will not meet, with the promise of a deal too good to refuse. Tomorrow, he's likely to repeat a request that Moscow end its incursion into Crimea in return for lifting of sanctions on Russian oligarchs who are close to the Putin. The approach may not work on Putin, a graduate of spy school who has been pulling the strings in Russia's government for nearly 2 decades. Experts on Putin have said it is Trump who should be worried that the Russian president will try to earn concessions. Putin, like other world leaders who have Trump's number, is most likely to get what he wants by flattering him. I would be surprised if Vladimir Putin offers any concessions in exchange for restoring what Russia sees as its inalienable rights, Dmitry Trinin, director of the Carnegie Moscow Center, told the Associated Press. If no agreement is reached, Russia will take retaliatory measures, which could trigger new U.S. moves. Trump's deal-making skills and his electoral victory are especially ripe for the complimenting, foreign leaders have found, although Putin is less likely to bring up the latter than other people in positions of power who have sat across from the billionaire. Russia has been accused by 4 U.S. intelligence agencies of interfering in the national election that hoisted Trump to power last year. From email hacking and leaking to voter data theft, the Kremlin has been charged by officials in both the current and previous government of directing and a large-scale intrusion into U.S. systems that were intended to undermine the democratic process. Intelligence officials who worked for Barack Obama have explicitly said the assault was intended to throw the election for Trump over Democrat Hillary Clinton. Clinton infamously tried to reset relations with Putin when she was Secretary of State in a gimmick gone wrong. She said numerous times in the aftermath of her election loss that Putin was out to get her. Putin personally directed these attacks, she said in December, apparently because he has a personal beef against me. Trump has refused to acknowledge an intelligence assessment that Clinton may be right about Putin trying to swing the election in his favor. He's waffled repeatedly on the Kremlin's involvement in the release of senior Democrats' emails, too. Just today, at a news conference in Poland, Trump said then that Russia could have interfered in the election, but he's not totally convinced that it was the sole meddler. I think it was Russia, and it could have been other people in other countries, Trump said. Nobody really knows. He added that the U.S. intelligence community has made high-profile mistakes in the past, so nobody really knows for sure. Trump sought to redirect any scrutiny toward his predecessor, Barack Obama, accusing him of allowing Moscow to meddle on his watch. Though the Obama administration warned Russia publicly and privately before Election Day to stop interfering, questions have since been raised about whether the office holder acted aggressively enough to stop the threat. They say he choked. Well, I don't think he choked, Trump said. I think he thought Hillary Clinton was going to win the election, and he said, let's not do anything about it. Trump said the CIA had informed Obama about the hacking months before the election but added that mistakes have been made. In Putin, Trump sees a potential ally in the war on radicalism in the Middle East. The Republican president and his administration have held off on slapping Moscow with new sanctions as they assess Putin's willingness to work with the U.S. to defeat ISIS and remove Bashar al-Assad from power in Syria. A close ally of Syria and Iran, Trump called on Russia from Poland to cease its destabilizing activities in Ukraine and elsewhere and its support for hostile regimes in his most forceful remarks on the subject yet during a Thursday speech. Russia must choose to join the US and its allies in their fight against common enemies and in defense of civilization itself, Trump said. Putin's government is presently aligned with powers that seek to test our will, undermine our confidence, and challenge our interests, Trump stated. To meet new forms of aggression, including propaganda, financial crimes, and cyber warfare, we must adapt our alliance to compete effectively in new ways and on all new battlefields, he declared. Russia has made no indications that it would be willing to sell out Assad in order to take out ISIS. To the contrary, it has continued to work with the ruling class in the face of vicious assaults on women and children. Trump's attitude coming into office had been to let the civil war in Syria resolve itself. A chemical weapons attack in April that killed 89 changed his mind. These heinous actions by the Assad regime cannot be tolerated. The United States stands with our allies across the globe to condemn this horrific attack and all other horrific attacks, for that matter, he said during a news conference the following day. As Trump dropped bombs on the facility in Syria where the attack was launched from several days later, he urged all civilized nations to join the US in seeking to end the slaughter and bloodshed in Syria, and also to end terrorism of all kinds and all types.